Hi there, my name is Sloane Hartley, and what you are about to watch is my story. This is the story of how a poor scholarship girl walked into the most powerful school in the country and became part of a lie she never agreed to. I never planned to fall for anyone. I only came to Ashworth Hall to survive, to make my mum proud, and to earn a future I was told I did not deserve. But then there was Rory Ashworth. Rich, feared, untouchable. She claimed me in front of everyone, not because she loved me, but because she needed to hurt someone else. What started as control slowly turned into something confusing, intense, and dangerous. Feelings were never part of the plan, but they came anyway. Before we continue, please like and subscribe to this channel. It is free, it is easy, and it helps me share more deep and emotional stories like this one. Your support truly means everything. Now sit back, relax, and listen to how I learned that breaking ranks can cost you everything, or change your life forever. I arrived at Ashworth Hall Academy with my secondhand suitcase cutting into my palm and my mom's warnings still ringing in my ears. The train had already left when my feet touched the stone platform. The sound of it faded into the hills like it was glad to be free of me. I stood there for a moment, breathing in air that smelled clean and rich, like money and secrets. My heart was beating fast, not from the walk, but from fear and hope fighting inside me. On the train from Manchester, I had read my acceptance letter again and again until the paper felt soft. I knew every word by heart. Full scholarship, boarding, one of the most prestigious girls' schools in the country. I remember the day the letter came. Mum had opened it with shaking hands. When she read it, she cried. Not the quiet, tired crying she did when bills piled up, but loud, happy tears. She laughed and cried at the same time and pulled me into her arms, so tight I could barely breathe. I had wanted to say no. I really had. I had heard the stories. Girls like me did not last long in places like this. Scholarship girls who packed their bags in the night. Girls who came home smaller, quieter, broken. I told Mom I could stay. I could work. I could help more. But she touched my face with her rough hands, hands shaped by years of hard work, and smiled at me like she already saw me somewhere better. You're going to fly, love, she said. You're going to fly so far away from this life. So I came. I wore the pink and white uniform that cost more than Mum earned in a week. I kept my back straight, even though my stomach hurt. I told myself I belonged here, even as the academy rose in front of me like something from a storybook that did not want me in it. Ashworth Hall was beautiful in a way that felt sharp. Tall stone buildings reached toward the sky. Windows gleamed. Ivy climbed the walls like it had been invited. Girls crossed the grounds in neat lines, laughing softly, their shoes clean, their hair perfect. They moved like they owned the ground under their feet, like the world had always made room for them. I dragged my suitcase up the steps and inside, where the halls echoed with voices and footsteps. Everything smelled like polish and perfume. I felt loud and wrong, like a stain that had not been noticed yet. That was when I met Mari. She was standing outside our dorm room, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed. She had bright eyes and box braids pulled back from her face. When she saw me, her gaze dropped to my suitcase, then lifted back to my face. She smiled, warm and easy. Scholarship, she asked. I nodded, waiting for the sting that always came after that word. Instead, she stepped forward and took the door key from the hook. Same, she said. I'm Mari. Relief rushed through me, so fast it almost made me dizzy. We went inside, and she started unpacking like she had done this 100 times. I stood there, watching her, feeling like maybe I could breathe again. As she talked, I learned the rules. Not the written ones, the real ones. There were 3 ranks at Ashworth Hall. The circles sat at the top, daughters of politicians, old money, families with power that stretched back generations. They wore altered uniforms that fit just right. They had private lounges they called study rooms. Teachers smiled at them differently. Then there were the middles. New money. Girls whose families were rich, but not rich enough. They tried hard. They watched the circles closely, hoping to move up, terrified of falling down. And then there were us. The scholarships. Targets. Servants. Invisible, unless someone wanted to feel powerful. Rule 1, Mari said, folding her clothes neatly. Never walk the East Corridor alone. Rule 2, she went on. Cafeteria seating matters more than grades. She paused before the last one and looked straight at me. Rule 3. Don't catch Rory Ashworth's attention. Ever. The name settled in my chest like a warning bell. I wanted to ask why, but I didn't. Some answers came with pain. That evening, I found out how little rules mattered once they were broken. I was carrying my bedding down the dorm hallway. My arms were full, my view blocked. I turned a corner and walked straight into a group of girls. She'd slid from my arms and hit the floor. Pillows rolled. Laughter filled the hall, sharp and bright. I knelt quickly, my face burning, gathering my things. I could feel eyes on me. Heavy. Judging. Then the hallway went quiet. I looked up. She stood at the center of them, taller than the rest, like the space itself bent around her. Rory Ashworth. She wore her lacrosse uniform, the fabric clinging to her strong frame. Her hair was pulled back, pale and shining. Her eyes were ice blue, focused and cold. She had a phone pressed to her ear, her jaw tight as she spoke. When her gaze locked onto mine, it felt like being caught in a net. Scholarship, she said. Not a question. Pick your things up. You're blocking the corridor our fathers paid for. Her voice was calm, sharp, used to being obeyed. Something strange moved under my skin. It was not fear, not exactly. It was awareness. Like she saw me fully, and I hated that part of me liked it. I bit back the words rising in my throat and gathered my sheets. My hands shook, but I did not rush. I would not give her that. As I stood, I heard her again, still on the phone. No, Viv, we're not doing this now, she said. There was anger there. And something else. Something raw. Fine. Tomorrow. Public as you want. Her voice cracked, just a little. So fast it almost wasn't real. Then it hardened again, smooth and sharp as glass. I walked away without looking back, my heart pounding too hard for such a small moment. I told myself she was nothing. Just another rich girl with too much power. But that night, lying in my narrow bed, I saw her eyes every time I closed mine. I told myself that meant nothing. I was wrong. The next day, my life stopped being quiet. It happened in the gym. The main gym at Ashworth Hall was huge, with high windows and bright lights that made everything feel exposed. The floor shined like a mirror. The bleachers were packed. Girls filled every seat, whispering, laughing, watching. It felt less like a tryout and more like a show. I was only there because of Mari. She sat beside me on the highest row, her leg bouncing with nerves. She was trying out for cheerleading, and I came to support her. We wore our uniforms and kept our heads low. We chose the back on purpose. The scholarship section. The place where we were seen but never noticed. Or so I thought. The music started. Loud. Fast. The cheer squad moved together like one body. Perfect smiles. Sharp turns. Viv Chin stood at the front, leading them. Her hair shone under the lights. Every move she made was smooth and confident. The crowd watched her like she was already famous. I glanced down at the front row. Rory Ashworth sat there. She was not smiling. Her posture was stiff, her shoulders tight. She held her water bottle too hard, her fingers white around it. Even from far away, I could feel the storm around her. She was focused only on Viv. Like nothing else in the room existed. The routine ended. The music stopped. The silence hit hard. Viv stepped forward and lifted her hand. She smiled at the crowd, then turned to Rory. Her voice was calm and clear. Too clear. We need to talk, she said. Us. We're done. I need someone who helps my future, not someone who complicates it. Every sound in the gym died. My heart jumped. I felt Mari's hand grip mine. Rory stood slowly. For 1 second, just one, I saw something real on her face. Pain. Shock. Hurt. It passed so fast it almost didn't exist. Then her expression turned cold again, sharp and clean. Your loss, Rory said. Her voice didn't shake. Her hands did. Whispers rushed through the bleachers. Phones lifted. Eyes widened. I sat frozen, my chest tight, like I had been pulled into something without moving. Then Rory's eyes moved. They swept the crowd. They stopped on me. Not past me. Not through me. On me. My breath caught. Her gaze changed. It wasn't anger. It wasn't pride. It was something heavy and fast. like a decision being made in the middle of falling. She stood up. The sound of her shoes on the floor echoed as she walked up the steps toward the bleachers. People parted for her without thinking. Murmurs followed her path. I felt Mari squeeze my hand harder. "Don't react," Mari whispered. "Whatever she does, don't react." Rory stopped right in front of me. Up close, she smelled like expensive perfume and sweat from practice. Something sharp sat under it. Something raw. Her eyes were bright, almost burning. "You," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "What's your name?" My throat felt dry. "Sloan," I said. My voice stayed steady. I held on to that like it mattered. "Sloan Hartley," she repeated slowly, like she was tasting the words. Then she turned slightly, facing the gym. "You're my girlfriend now." Effective immediately. The world exploded. Gasps. Shouts. Laughter. Phones rose higher. Someone screamed. My mind went blank. My ears rang. I stood halfway without knowing I was moving. "I'm not," I started. Rory leaned closer. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Yes, you are," she whispered. Her breath brushed my ear. "Play along, scholarship girl, or I'll make your life so miserable you'll beg your mother to pull you out. Smile." My body went cold. My mother's face flashed in my mind. Her tired eyes. Her proud smile. Her hands counting coins at the table. So I smiled. It felt like my face broke into pieces to do it. Rory straightened and wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Her touch burned through the thin fabric of my uniform. The crowd went wild. Cheers. Claps. Laughter. Viv watched from the floor. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Calculating. Mari stared at me like she wanted to pull me away but couldn't. Rory's arm stayed firm around me as she led me down the steps. Every eye followed us. I walked on legs that felt like they didn't belong to me. By dinner, it was everywhere. Photos. Videos. Messages. The scholarship girl and Rory Ashworth. The joke of the year. The scandal of the month. At dinner, Rory pulled out a chair for me at her table. The circle stared. Some looked angry. Some amused. Some curious. I sat where she placed me, my back straight, my hands calm even though my heart was screaming. She leaned close once, just enough for others to see. "Good girl," she murmured, like she was praising a trick. I hated the heat that rose in my chest. That night, I lay in my bed and stared at the ceiling. The room felt too small. My skin still remembered her arm. Her voice. Her threat. "Why me?" I whispered. Mari turned in her bed. "Because you were there," she said softly. "Because she needed to hurt someone back. And because choosing you hurts Viv the most." I closed my eyes. But that wasn't all of it. I saw Rory's face again. The way she looked at me before she spoke. Like she wasn't just using me. Like she saw something she wanted and grabbed it before it disappeared. I told myself I imagined it. I told myself a lot of lies in those weeks. They were the only things that helped me sleep. Being Rory Ashworth's fake girlfriend changed everything. Overnight, I stopped being invisible and became a moving target. The next day after history class, she waited for me. I knew she would. I felt it all through the lesson. The air felt tight. My pen shook in my hand. When the bell rang, I packed my books fast, hoping I could slip out before she noticed me. I didn't make it 3 steps. Rory stepped into my path, blocking the doorway like she owned it. She smelled clean and sharp, like soap and confidence. Other girls slowed down to watch. They always did when she was near. "Walk with me," she said. It was not a request. We moved side by side down the hallway. Her shoulder brushed mine on purpose. I felt it everywhere. "These are the rules," she said calmly, like she was listing class notes. "We eat together. My table. You come to my lacrosse games. We walk together when we can. You sit next to me during assembly." She stopped walking and turned to face me. "And you touch me back," she added. "Hold my hand. Let me put my arm around you. Smile. Sell it." My chest felt tight. "And if I refuse?" She smiled. It was the kind of smile people write poems about. Soft lips. Bright eyes. It was also the kind that could ruin lives. "Your scholarship is reviewed every term," she said. "My father runs the board. Do the math." She stepped past me and kept walking like nothing had happened. I stood there long after she left. From that day on, my life was not mine. At lunch, she pulled out a chair beside her and patted it. Everyone watched. I sat. Her arm slid around my waist like it belonged there. Her thumb pressed into my side, slow and warm. Girls stared. Some looked angry. Some laughed under their breath. No one said anything. During assembly, she leaned close and whispered jokes into my ear. I laughed when she wanted me to. My body reacted before my brain did. I hated that part the most. Once, during English class, a bouquet of flowers arrived with my name on it. The teacher smiled. The class whispered. Rory watched me like she had built the moment herself. Viv saw everything. Her eyes followed us in the halls. Sharp, quiet, always thinking. But when no one was watching, Rory vanished. She would drop my hand the second we turned a corner. Her face would close off. She would walk ahead like I was air. No smiles. No words. Sometimes I caught her alone, late at night in the common room. Her books spread around her. Her shoulders slumped. Her eyes tired. She looked small then. Trapped. I hated myself for noticing. One night, Mari sat on her bed and watched me brush my hair in silence. You know this is wrong, she said gently. This is control. She's forcing you. I know, I said. I thought of Mum on the phone, her voice full of pride, telling people her daughter went to Ashworth Hall. So I kept playing my part. I leaned in when Rory pulled me close. I smiled when cameras flashed. I laughed at her jokes. I became the proof that she was untouched by heartbreak. Sometimes, when she held me too tight, I felt heat spread through me that scared me more than her threats. Late at night, when the halls were quiet, I wondered which part of me she was breaking, and which part of me was waking up. Thank you so much for watching my story until the end. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for episode 2. Your support helps me create more stories like this and means more to me than you know. I would also love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment and tell me what you felt while watching. Thank you again for being here, and I hope to see you in the next story.